Zero Tenacity gonna look to get their get back here in this matchup against the loose cannons from Asia. XOXO01. It is gonna start on Krakoa, and I am ready to crack into this one. I have been waiting all night for this matchup, and if those first two series weren't enough for you, this is one to lock in on. Like Liger said, no matter where you're watching from, lock in, get that edge of your seat ready, because no doubt these two are gonna go blow for blow here.
Yeah, it's kind of the way that these double limb brackets like start to shake out when you get the seeding. You know, you get the top seed from one region against the bottom seed from another, and you know, so your first and last matches of the day, they might be blowouts, but the real meat and potatoes is going to be those middle two matchups. Our last one, AAAD versus the Chiefs, I think definitely delivered. Could have gone a little bit longer. I think this one is going to deliver, and I think it's going to go the distance. And as we kick off this pick and ban phase, it is not Gambit that is first banned on both sides. No. It is the Mantis.
Yeah, it is kind of the end of an era here. You are not going to be seeing the double Gambit ban right off the rip here. Mantis off the table. Gambit going to be saved by Zero Tenacity. Of course, he is wide open here. So EXO, knowing that they've got some things they're going to have to get off the table here if Gambit's on the board. Rogue being one of those, of course, that team up still very, very powerful. But the buffs to Rogue definitely have made her work on her own here. EXO also going to save the Cyclops, so they're going to be bringing some hit scan to the table here. Z10, make that Gambit a one-sided, but it's going to be a one-sided rocket for EXO, so it is going to be a battle of the power strategists, no doubt.
And there's an Ultron ban coming through as well from the side of Z10, and that's a little bit of an interesting one, you know. You know, we've talked a little bit about the Torchtron, you know, Torch and Ultron kind of making a comeback, but that usually relies on the Mantis, which has already been banned out. I'm curious if, you know, they just want to make sure that there's a no damage amps whatsoever for the protected Cyclops, but it's now going to be available for Z10 as well. And as the doors burst on open, have a look at what we've got. Sungjuk Woo kicking things off with the Spider-Man. And we asked, how is this team going to innovate? Well, here is an emphatic answer from the man himself.
Yeah, definitely going to stick to their guns a little bit here, at least on rollout for point number one here on Krakoa. A couple of oldies from EXO as well. JT3 still rocking the tank pool, and it's going to be Sungjuk Woo that opens this up, finds Jerry on the Daredevil, sends him all the way back to square number one, and the mission area not even unlocked yet, so big body advantage here, though creative on the Gambit, gonna find a quick staff hit onto Sungjuk Woo, and JT3 will even things out here, so EXO quickly scrambling for a body advantage here, stop for that first selfie of this matchup. Long road ahead here for EXO, but already off to a decent start. Wendy on the Fox as well, gonna find Zatha, so KO's left and right, but it's gonna be EXO that walks away with the first take on this one.
I don't know if Z10 are willing to give this fight up just yet. They still got a couple men down there, but Jerry is gonna get taken down just inches away from a health pack. Zatha denying his medical insurance and setting him back onto urgent care, and Zero Tenacity going to back on out and try and reassess here once they have a full deck, but that does now mean that Sungjuk Woo has full control over the map. He can lurk wherever he wants to, swing into another deadly position, and try and find another early opening frag. And Zero Tenacity, like, every time they have to turn around to try and deal with that, it just gives more room for Zatha, for JT3, and for Alone Fills even to get in deep, draw more aggro, and find the shots.
Yeah, a lot of room for EXO to breathe here. Zatha in a little bit of trouble, but he will make the escape here. I always wondered if the Avengers had any kind of health care, and as long as Zatha's around and able to do his job, no such luck here. It is going to be Marvel on the Venom, though. Will take out Felix very early on, but it's a BRB to get that Luna right back into the fight. So not down too many strategists here, but Alone Fills is going to be down and out in this fight. Jerry onto that Daredevil, picking up one, and Z10 been trying to find a way to get this capture point their way, and XE might be able to deliver here on the Cyclops, the hit scan monster to start things off. They haven't quite made the point yet, but a one body left for EXO. That will be more than enough for Z10 to take over here.
Look, I've gone on record a couple of times, and I said that I think that XE is one of the best hit scan players, not just in Pacific, not just in Asia, but in the entire world. And Cyclops is a hero that seems tailor-built for his skill set, and he is fragging out to kick things off. We'll see if he can keep that tempo going, but Alone Fills with the Ruby Rage. XE just returns fire with a double KO and casually drifting above that Ruby Rage. Let's make it a triple, and maybe even we give him the quad if Zatha can't get out alive. And he is on a sliver of HP. It just might not be happening. You want to talk about the health insurance for Avengers? I can guarantee you Zatha is pulling his card out right now.
Yeah, I was about to say, definitely taking full advantage of the benefits if they do exist here. But yeah, Xe delivering even without the Ruby Rage, and he's got it ready to go now. A lot of cards on the table for Z10, but Exo gonna get right back into the fight here. Ruby Rage for Xe is a whiff though, and it's gonna be 2 KOs now for Exo. Felix and Alone Phil's gonna take down some of Zero Tenacity. That forces out every ult they've got here, but it is gonna be Zero Tenacity on the receiving end of some pain here. Zeta and Ace, both of them gonna find some KOs here as well, and they are quickly getting themselves back into the fight. Double KO for the Rocket, and just like that, Exo back in control yet again.
It costs both Strategist ultimates, but they hold on to pretty much everything else, so I think you're okay with that if you're Exo and you're able to maintain the lead. Zero Tenacity, though, they don't really have a whole lot of tools here, so you gotta imagine this is gonna get up to 99 to 99 before they can really make a play here, and Exo can just stall this out. And you know, when you're trying to play that slow play for an ultimate, that is exactly where Seungjuk Woo wants to strike. He's got his eyes on creative. The uppercut goes in. He can't quite finish him off in the spectacular spin. Not all of that spectacular if Soko has anything to say about it. And his guns, they keep on singing. They have got a lot left to say. A little bit of a low HP action there, getting down to 6 HP, but the healing comes through. Freedom charge now for Zeta, and Exo need to take this fight and try and force Z10 back, but with that opening elo onto Seungjuk Woo, it's going to be a little bit difficult for Exo. They're going to trade that one out and take down Soko, and Exo firmly in control, and Ruby Rage will just deny the backline any angle, and Z10 shunted from the point. Exo will take Cradle.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about body advantage here. Exo finding some early picks before the fight really even kicked off. It was already 6v5. Solid Ruby Rage landing from Alone Phil's to basically seal the deal here for Exo. I thought we would at least be seeing one more fight there, but Exo just built that advantage for themselves so early on here. Did not leave the door open at all for Zero Tenacity. So definitely feels like Exo just got that early lead, and there just was too much of a gap for them to try to make up, especially once they were out of resources, had no ults left to go. But now looking ahead, Zero Tenacity definitely gonna have some tools to bring to the table here, especially in this very first fight.
Yeah, like, that's kind of the thing is, right, like, they didn't have any ultimates, they didn't have any utility, and they had to try and play on with their head on a swivel to try and deal with Seungjuk Woo's dive, so it just takes too much time for Zero Tenacity to build up to anything. But that was essentially their dry fight, and now they've got quite the moist one coming into this next one. You know, they're going to be coming up on Feast of the Abyss and the Rage and Royal Flush. That alone could be able to find a single or double KO if Marvel is able to strike deep at the heart of Exo, and really no ultimates coming online anytime soon for Exo, so now they're going to be the ones who have to try and take a dry fight. But Seungjuk Woo wants to do no such thing, already being a pesteros mosquito in the backline. Xe looks to swat him, but can't quite hit him, and he'll get away alive for now.
Yeah, Seungjuk Woo gonna prime the pump. 10 seconds still before the mission area even unlocked. He's already in there fighting. Creative's got the Rage and Royal Flush, though, ready to go. So Z10 gonna try to take some early aggression here in this fight. JT3 in trouble, and he will go down at the hands of Creative on that Gambit. That's the BRB already gone, and now Jerry gets a confirmed KO onto Felix. Alone Phil's gonna even it out here. Soko on that Vanpool, taking one down as well. That's Seungjuk Woo all the way back to spawn for now, and JT3, even after the res, in some serious trouble here. It's Deadpool versus Deadpool, and it's Soko that comes out on top along with the rest of Zero Tenacity. They will take the first cap here.
And I do think the Vanpool here, you know, even though I rated him kind of low coming into this meta, he does serve as a decent stopgap. Oh, goodbye, Ooh. Hello. All right, Soko nearly bit the dust just as I was about to gas up the hero pick. We'll get back to that when the time is right, because right now it's time for Zero Tenacity to take another fight, try and force Exo back.
Yeah, back in the driver's seat here. A better look on point number 2 so far for Z10. They've already got a couple things online too, so you know they are going to look to try and hold this one out. But Exo pushing back appropriately here. There's the banhammer from Soko. Marvel's got that Feast of the Abyss on the move as well, so they're going to move in here, and they will deliver on it. 3 KOs now for Z10. It's a 1 for 3 favoring them, and they will firmly hold control of this point all the way to 50% and beyond. Seungjuk Woo in some trouble there too. Almost got a spectacular spin ready to go, but he is going to have to back down for now. Z10 got a little bit of that forward pressure going, so definitely a better position for them to be in than point number 1.
So anyway, as I was trying to say, the Vanpool does kind of work as a decent hybrid between an Anchor Vanguard and a Dive Vanguard, so for both the styles that these two teams want to play, it works out quite well. But the other key difference is that Rocket Raccoon, and there's going to be a Ruby Rage coming to the other side with a spectacular spin now from Seungjuk Woo will take Soko down, and pulling a Fox into the sky with an uppercut. Not going to be able to confirm the elim, but Exo have already made their presence felt, and and then some. They've got a few more ultimates to utilize. Fate of Both Worlds and a Ban Hammer with another uppercut. Sungjuk-woo is going to bring Xe to justice. 81% for Zero Tenacity, but EXO will find the flip and get a couple of stagger elims to boot.
Yeah, good stuff from Sungjuk-woo here. Still sticking to the Spider-Man for now as the scales tip in EXO's favor. Z10 gonna have to cut their losses here, but they're almost one fight away from taking this point and getting us all the way to the end of Krakoa here. Sungjuk-woo looking for the off-map yet again here. No fear whatsoever from your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in this matchup. But EXO, obviously in control now, looking to get a little bit of forward pressure, but I have no doubt Zero Tenacity is gonna come out swinging here.
Sungjuk-woo is just such a pest right now. Freedom Charge is going to make it so difficult for Zero Tenacity to burst anybody down, and EXO holding on for dear life. That's going to be a res that comes out for JT3, but Felix won't get that res now, so you're down a major source of your healing, and Creative is making you wish you had all that healing as he is putting down the hurt, putting some of those cards right in that frontal cortex, and a double KO for him. And that's going to be Zero Tenacity finding the flip again, and it's one-fight territory. EXO are going to have to try and get bodies on the point again.
Yeah, it's the second verse, same as the first here, really. Zero Tenacity go for a very early aggressive pick to get that BRB out of the way, and everything from then on out is confirmed here. Now, EXO gonna have to try to find a way to get that overtime to keep this fight rolling here. They will find the OT, but now the fight unleashed here. Marvel gonna go for the Feast of the Abyss. We'll find the KO onto Felix again. Absolutely bullied out of this point here, but BRB ready to go yet again. Half of overtime gone now for EXO. They are still looking for a way to get in the door here. Big freeze on the Marvel, but not before he can take down the Rocket here. 2 for 1 as Alone Fills will find Jerry, but Creative taking down Sungjuk-woo. Spider-Man out the equation. Felix in trouble as well here. No strategist on the point, and it is a matter of when and not if Z10 will close this one out. Ruby Rage ready to go for Alone Fills, though, and a couple of big KOs coming through at the end. A double KO for the Cyclops here, and they're almost ready to make the flip. Maybe I spoke too soon. Triple now for Alone Fills as he is keeping EXO in this fight, and they will make the flip.
Well, you said when, not if. They still could do it, but it definitely won't be now. So win might be later, as they do have more ultimates coming into this next one. Kumiho Unleashed and a Ruby Rage, but EXO are going to be able to match this time bank for sure with the Ruby Rage of their own and a spectacular spin. And the biggest problem, that CYA, that Zero Tenacity, haven't really been able to deal with, and they're so far away from a commensurate ultimate. They will take down Sungjuk-woo. Anti-aircraft gambit from Creative goes helicopter mode once again. No res for him either. We'll be back fast. There's the CYA burned early on. They lose Jerry, but I think that's a trade that you are A-okay with if you're Z10, because you've got time to regroup, and now 2 of your biggest threats have already been dealt with.
Yeah, and they trashed the CYA very early on here. Now another pick here from Creative onto JT3. We'll get up off the BRB yet again, but Marvel now gonna find the confirm again onto Felix. Taken down, still holding the Fate of Both Worlds, so no strat ults for EXO online now as Z10 are gonna look to get back into the fight here. It is gonna be a Kumiho Unleashed from Wendy, and Z10 got 3 ults left in the tank here as they will maintain control yet again. Overtime back on the board here. Zaytha gonna try to keep this fight alive here. Freedom Charge now, and he is on the point, looking to try and delay. Do what Captain America does best here, but Soko all business here, taking down Felix yet again, rocked right out of the fight here, and now Z10 mostly bodies on the point, but again EXO are trying to make the flip here. Sungjuk-woo the hero now this time for EXO. We'll find a couple of KOs here, and they are looking to make the flip yet again. Xe though gonna fight back, will find the Spider-Man, swat the flyer, the spider I should say here. Banhammer from JT3, a sliver of overtime left for EXO to try and make the flip here. Alonefill's gonna find one. Wendy will find one as well. 1 for 1 here. There is a portal onto the board here from Creative on the side of Z10. So the troops back on through. Jerry going huge on the Daredevil as well. Triple KO here. Creative will find one, and that is all she wrote here for point number 2. Z10 gonna play this map out to its very end.
I mean, EXO also willing to play it out so it's very end. The fight ain't lost till it's lost. They go in with the Freedom Charge, and, they force resources out of Zero Tenacity. I thought that was more than enough, but then Sungjuk-woo comes in, gets a double, and then Alone Fills is there with the Ruby Rage. Like, all of it starts to coalesce, and you start to believe for a second that maybe EXO can find the flip, but the Strange TP comes out. The target prio for Marvel and Jerry, this 2-man hit squad from Zero Tenacity. It works out. They have been hunting Felix down time and time again, and the healing just isn't there for EXO, so they can't sustain once that Freedom Charge goes away. But EXO themselves, they just don't go away. They keep coming at you until there's nothing left, and that might just be enough, because even though Zero Tenacity, right, they win that one, they don't feel like they won. They feel like they survived.
Yeah, very well put, because EXO just do not quit. No matter how many times you put them in the dirt, they will get right back up. The target prioritization onto Phoenix, though, great point there, because, you know, it does take Felix out of the equation, even when the BRBs are there and the Luna will get rezzed. Of course, it does take a few seconds, and that leaves a window of opportunity for Z10 to find those early picks that they've found. That's how they're creating a lot of advantage in these fights. So definitely gonna have to protect that backline if you're on the side of EXO here, as Zero Tenacity gonna get aggressive yet again. Soko finds the opener onto Sungjuk Woo. Already the Spider-Man sent back. No BRB now, as EXO gonna make a couple swaps here, so no rocket on the board here. It is gonna be a fate of both worlds from Felix and a banhammer from JT3. They're gonna throw everything they've got here at Zero Tenacity to start things off, and they'll pay off. EXO will get the first cap here and a couple of KOs. Sungjuk Woo back on the scene and will take out Exy, but Marvel, so nasty in this matchup here, will find Felix, and there is no BRB to get that Luna back into the fight. Z10 and Lonefill's, though, gonna even the odds, and we've seen this time and time again in these fights. In this matchup, EXO able to find something in every single opportunity, even when it feels like Z10 have the advantage.
Little parting shot onto Marvel as EXO will finally get the dub there. But yeah, you're right, like it felt like Zero Tenacity, like there was a moment in time where they could have won that fight, but EXO were just able to hold on for dear life. There was also a moment where Alone Fills was like in the washing machine. Bro got put in the spin cycle, but he comes out clean, and he's coming out encroaching on another Ruby Rage, gonna beat Exy to that particular punch, and if it lands, it's gonna be another fight win for EXO.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, very early pick on to Wendy, though. It's going to be a 1-for-2 here. That's going to favor EXO. Sungjuk Woo and Z10 in some trouble here with one strat down. Gonna have to protect Felix with your lives here to stay in this fight. They do have an advantage, but Soko is going to try to even the odds here. Freedom charge from Z10 gets some overheal onto the team, but now he is in some serious trouble here. No strategist inside. His ace is still trying to walk it back, and he will go down. Zero Tenacity find a big advantage in this fight here. Soko going to get one more for the road here as Z10 take control of point number 3 for the first time.
65% though for EXO, so you know, maybe 2 fights if they're able to find the flip, and Zero Tenacity only holding on Feast of the Abyss and potentially let the Devil out to try and stagger this one out. And I kind of feel like, you know, if you're Z10, you would like to have a strategist ultimate, you'd like to have something big to stall this fight out, try and match that percentage, but Creative, I mean, you don't really need strategist ultimates when Creative is going as aggressive on the Gambit as he is. He is constantly finding Elans. I think he's got more final blows than even Jerry might at this point.
Yeah, absolutely no heal bot Gambit here, and that's been clutch for Z10 to stay in these fights, as well as Soko on that Deadpool. Absolutely deadly this matchup here, though it is a 1-for-1 yet again here, and around every turn it feels like EXO are able to get something out of these fights here. Ruby Rage from Alone Fills puts some damage down, but not enough to get the KOs here, and Soko will be in that KO feed yet again here, finding a double KO onto EXO. Bodies falling one by one as Z10 maintain control and are quickly closing the gap.
You know, speaking of having so many final blows, you know, Jerry gets one there, but does fall for it. But Soko is having such a good game right now when it comes to this ban pool, like you said. And it just kind of feels like across the board, both teams, all the stars are out right now. Everyone's playing their hearts out, and it's only map number 1. We're going all the way, 65% apiece. Zero Tenacity now going to take the lead. EXO looking to try and find the flip. They don't really have a lot of good ultimates to be able to do it. Banhammer already expended, but Sungjuk Woo gets caught out before he can really do any damage in the back line. So Zero Tenacity with a man advantage and an ult advantage, and Lonefill's going for the back cap. He snipes Wendy.
I feel like Zero Tenacity were maybe trying to hold on to some ults for this fight and maybe for the next, but they're going to let him rip here. Creative's got Rage and Royal Flush. Ruby Rage from Exy. They've got 2 KOs up on the board here and 90% and counting. Sungjuk Woo sneaking up on him there. Creative taken by surprise by the Spider-Man here. And now EXO trying to wrest control away, just a sliver away from making the flip here. Jerry's going to let that Devil out though, trying to find a way to close this out here. Not going to be any good though, because that fate of both worlds, the dance floor, the club, is open here for EXO to try and protect themselves, but for how long can they hold out here? Z10 still in control of the point. Marvel's gonna have Feast of the Abyss in just a second here, and the only thing stopping them is that Captain America shield, that freedom charge going offline here. JT3 finding a pick onto Exy, taking on a big piece of damage for Zero Tenacity as EXO back in control here, but it is just one fight for Z10 to close out the map.
Yeah, and I think that you know, characteristic aggression on the Gambit from Creative came back to bite Z10, because again, you know, before that fight kicks off, Alonefields gets that snipe onto Wendy, and then Creative pops that Raging Royal Flush. There's just not enough healing while he's going in to try and get some KOs off the back of it that the front line just crumbles, and EXO are able to parlay that into a fight win, and they're keeping the momentum going. Seungjuk Woo continues to be a pest, takes down Wendy again. 97% and Zero Tenacity are threatening a flip. There will be overtime, and they're able to deal with Ace, so both white boxes down. It is all or nothing for both sides at 99 to 99, and Alonefields gets swallowed whole.
And this is going to be rough here. Felix just now getting back to the battlefield, but the team in some serious trouble here. You see Ace over onto the Doctor Strange, so the portal is incoming here. But can they make it in time? Soko finds one, and no, they cannot. No portal in sight for EXO, and Z10 will complete the reverse sweep here on Krakoa and put one up on the board over EXO. What a comeback.
I mean, they had to work for every inch of that one, though. Like, all 3 points, even when it felt like Zero Tenacity was in the driver's seat, you know, EXO were still yanking the steering wheel away from them, forced them to swerve off course. This guy right here, though, Soko, never veered. He had his eyes locked down the sights and was just popping heads left and right with those deagles. All the stars were out, just like I said. 15 final hits for Soko, 16 for Marvel, 13 for Exy, and 11 for Creative. I was right, he did end up finishing with more than Jerry, but that is a lot of final hits and a lot of casualties for the side of EXO, so it kind of feels like the modus operandi for EXO right now in this newfound meta where dive isn't quite as strong is we win by attrition.
Yeah, definitely feels like they're just trying to hang on for dear life in every fight. Look for those brief moments, those opportunities to try and turn the value their direction. But this Zero Tenacity team, deadly from front to back. Like you said, almost every single line, multiple final hits, double-digit final hits for a majority of the team here. And yeah, an insane game for Soko. And we haven't really talked about the Vanguard Deadpool too much coming into this patch. Feels like kind of a sleeper hit here as Soko finds a ton of value. And JG3 got some work done on him as well here, so interesting to see him kind of back in the mix here in this new meta. But yeah, Zero Tenacity, I mean, it is a war of attrition between these two teams, but they are able to keep boots planted on the point when it counts. But you said it best, CB. I mean, they had to work for every single % of capture progress. So, you know, we had 2 3-0s tonight, but I have a very sneaking suspicion that that is not going to be the scoreline at the end of this one.
Yeah, if they had to work for every inch of Krakoa, they're going to have to work overtime for whatever map number 2 is going to be, because you better believe with EXO's map pick, they are going to pick something diabolical in Zero Tenacity to need to adapt to it. But I do kind of like the adaptations that they made on Krakoa. Like, we highlighted the Vanpool so many times. You know, Exy already on that Cyclops. These hit scan heroes, they play so well up against the Spider-Man if you can just land your shots, so they're able to shut down Seungjuk Woo pretty consistently, despite him being able to get a whopping 13 final hits for the side of EXO. And, you know, the Vanpool as well also kind of plays into that, and it's also really good up against a Venom. If EXO aren't going to come out with, you know, a Captain America or an Angela, they do come out with the Captain America, but even still, you know, Soko's able to keep him in check. I think it works out pretty well. I think Zero Tenacity have the meta dialed in, but we will put that to the test on EXO's map pick. Don't go anywhere, chat. This one's just heating up. We're going to cut to a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Pentagram of Farala. Our enemies are near. By the eye of Agamotto! Out, dark magic! Let the devil go! You couldn't be saved.
Welcome back everybody to Marvel Rivals Ignite here today, and okay, close first map here today. I think a lot of people may be very much crying in their predictions right now. Unfortunately, that's the game. You are never right, you are always wrong, and always doubt what you believe and believe in what you doubt, and that's the game. Welcome to Marvel Rivals. Now, at the end of the day, we are here to witness two teams that want each other to go down. They want to finally claim victory over each other and move on. They want to go on and say, I want to take on Reject. But at the rate we are seeing right now, these teams are putting up numbers that are just going to keep them in the conversation. And really right now, I don't know about y'all, but creative, woo, people are talking.
Yeah, I'm definitely one of those people who's talking. You know, I highlighted a couple times his aggression when it came to the Gambit, and here's his usage time for the White Fox. He's also been pretty aggressive when it comes to this hero as well. If it's any of the strategists that you can kind of get active in the KO feed on, that you can actually put in the damage on, I think that's going to be something that suits creative very well. Gambit, White Fox, both very much so in his wheelhouse, and it does play quite well alongside Wendy, who's a little bit more, you know, the Luna Snow, the Invis woman kind of type. So you have sort of your main strategist, your off strategist, creative kind of doing that flex strategist role, and he is playing it very, very well, among the best in the region.
I was going to say, Creative definitely been pulling his weight in the group stage. Very instrumental to a lot of Z10's wins there. And now here tonight in map number 1, you can already see his influence hard at work, putting up numbers on the Gambit. And like we talked about, not just sitting back and healing, not throwing rage and royal flushes, but he is right up there in the mix with everyone. So yeah, you know, top to bottom on that leaderboard, you got to watch out for every single line, front, middle, and back.
You know what? Speaking of lines, let's draw the line between the Cyclops factor here. We're getting lasers. We're getting the punch dimension going off right now. Is he that factor to consider here? Is he really turning the tides of these ban phases? Are we going to see something be tackled different now that the teams have kind of downloaded how each other want to play the ban phase here in this season? Do they have a better plan going into this next one? Obviously, XOXO now can pick a map, which means they can pick to their strengths. The question is, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to see Museum. I've had enough. I've had enough. I'm worried we're going to it, but it doesn't scream dive map to me. XOXO, you guys have been diving since February 2025. Good lord, please do not pick me. Yes, yes, it's Spider Islands finally. This is exactly. Oh, I'm so ready. I'm so ready.
It's my favorite map in the game, and I think it does play very well into what EXO have been coming out here with, because, you know, you talk about the Cyclops. Both teams, for the record, protected the Cyclops, so it's not just Xe, it's going to be Alone Fills. We're going to be seeing that head-to-head throughout, and I do think this is a pretty strong map for hit scan, but there's also a lot of different places that a Spider-Man can strike you from on a map like this. So if Sungjuk Woo wants to stick to his guns on that one, it's definitely going to be a great map pick and an uphill battle for Zero Tenacity.
Yeah, and considering how close map number 1 was, even the smallest advantage that EXO can give themselves are going to put them right back in contention. So map pick here is definitely going to be huge. And yeah, the Cyclops matchup is interesting. I think Xe is finding his mark, getting some numbers, but I really feel like Alone Fills is kind of keeping the team in the fight. Those Ruby Rages have been landing pretty consistently, where I feel like there were a couple that Xe missed in that first matchup. But of course, you know, still pretty new hero, the newest in the game so far. So definitely looking to see how they will shore up, because we still got a long series ahead of us.
Now, I'm going to actually unpack another element that's kind of been introducing itself in this patch as well. We saw a little bit of a downturn in the dive duelists, but that means those dive vanguards are finally shining. Your Cap, your Angela, your Venom. Now, specifically those two, Angela, Venom, they play extremely well on Spider Islands, so I'd like to see them here. Cap might not survive the ban draft, but we're going to find out very, very soon, because I believe it's actually kicking off right now. But I would like to see Angela. I know Zeta's got a crazy good Angela. We could see that today. Could get into that spear in action. Assassin's Charge now has a 4-second cooldown. Yes, it's got the bar, but the amount of mobility Angela can get, the displacement she can put out is insane right now. And who better to combo with the Cyclops? Who better than Angela, who has an ult, has more mobility than a Groot, to be able to keep up with your Cyclops, to make your team move fast and combo fast. It may be the more mobile, the more sort of dive pokes hybrid variant, of the Groot Knight.
Yeah,
Another version.
You just lock him down and hit the Ruby Rage and then knock him down. And I kind of agree with you there, and I think Zaytha does as well, because you guys can't see it, chat, but I can see the lobby right now. Zaytha's hovering over the Angela. I think EXO are predicting that the Captain America ban might come through from the side of EXO eventually in this ban draft, and they're already pre-gaming this. They don't care. We don't need our freedom. We don't need Captain America, because we will simply rule the skies here on Spider Islands. But let's get into this pick and ban phase, Diatonic. Let's see how things are going to shake out, starting with, of course, a couple of Mantis bans.
Yeah, that is the era we live in now. First ban Mantis from both teams, and yeah, you're right. I'm definitely interested to see what EXO is going to bring to the table on the second round of ban drafts here, because they've got some new intel here against Zero Tenacity. They know that there are some problems out there they're going to have to deal with. One of those, of course, is going to be the King of Thieves himself, Gambit, saved again by Zero Tenacity. So you're looking at a pretty similar draft line so far here, because Rogue going to be taken off the table, and EXO making sure they can bring Rocket to the table here. But yeah, you guys really nailed it with the Angela Cyclops. I mean, it's literally putting a Cyclops target on a stick, saying, "Here, shoot this one, get him," while you know he's on the edge of my spear.
Yeah, I mean, both teams, have been doing a fair bit of shooting when it comes to the Cyclops, but one team will not be able to do so, as that's going to be a Cyclops ban coming through, and also a one-sided Gambit. Interesting that they opted to protect the Rocket before the Gambit ban came through, so, they're really putting their stocks into that Rocket right now, and Star-Lord going to be banned on the other side again, taking down that Galactic Flush, but there's an Ultron Protect, and suddenly EXO are cooking.
Yeah, I mean, some of the classics, you gotta ban against Gambit. Star-Lord and Rogue off the table here. They're gonna bring the Ultron to the table. Before that save, I was kind of wondering, are we maybe gonna see some of that Rocket Loki here? They're, like you said, putting a lot of stock into CYA, so maybe I thought they would go for as many as they can get their hands on, but maybe not in this matchup here. Star-Lord banned out by Z10, and of course, they're going to take that Cyclops one-sided here, keep it away from Alone Fills, because he definitely put in some work on Krakoa, so definitely going to be a lot of changes on rollout here for EXO. One ban left in the tank. It is the White Fox, taken out by EXO against Zero Tenacity, so one of their tools, one of their most favorite tools in the backline, off the table for this one. Definitely a different draft for sure. Maybe not exactly what I expected here, but out of EXO, it's kind of what you should look for, really.
Well, so that last ban on the White Fox is interesting, because EXO had an opportunity to go for a one-sided Rocket. They're giving up a Rocket Gambit backline, which are arguably the two strongest strategists outside of Mantis. So I like this backline for Zero Tenacity, but in order to go for the White Fox instead, EXO are going to be confident that they can deal with it, and especially with, like we mentioned, JT3, as a matter of fact, on the Angela, and Cap gets through as well. So Zaytha is going to be manning that on the defensive side, and Zero Tenacity, Marvel's just looking around, trying to find the targets. Where are they? They're in your backline.
And Sungjuk Woo, laser focus here, already taken out the Rocket. And Wendy gonna make a quick swap here. Creative taken down as well by Alone Fills, who's on the Adam Warlock this time around, making a double KO for the Golden God right out the gate here. Z10 on attack first, 60 seconds away, able to at least get the cart rolling here, but not maybe as much progress as they were hoping for to start things off. I like EXO's backline here. I'm interested to see how it's gonna play out here. Ultron and the Adam Warlock on top of that Rocket Raccoon, but of course, Angela on both sides of the board here, so JT3 and Marvel in the matchup here, but JT3 in trouble, and Marvel is going to take him down. That'll pop the BRB for now, so EXO going to be a little bit on the back foot here.
And Marvel's still going to go in, though, and try and make a little bit of space from the skies. Jerry making the swap over onto the Winter Soldier as well to try and keep some of these divers in check, and Zaytha getting displaced very heavily, but Marvel essentially just hand delivers him straight to a Mega Health Pack, so Zaytha will be healed up nicely. He can just sprint right on back, take another lap coach, and Zero Tenacity getting a little bit of progress here, but the Rage of Ultron coming up from Felix should put a stop to that progress for the time being. There's going to be a ban hammer to try and pressure him out there, make sure he hits those shots. The healing will be enough to keep him alive, and we are still at a stalemate.
Yeah, definitely locking horns here as 2 minutes away off of Zero Tenacity's clock here, but Creative going down at the hands of Zaytha on that Captain America yet again here, and yeah, displacement definitely going to be the name of the game with both sides running the Angela here, looking to try and pull the rug out wherever they can. Soko's back on the Vanpool and right back to work here, taking down JT3, grab that selfie, get that XP snowball rolling, buff yourself up here for that last minute and 45, because Zero Tenacity gotta find a way to get this cart on the move. It might be Exy and Jerry, though, as Jerry's onto the Winter Soldier, and they are ready to cook here.
Well, here's the problem, though, is that the 2 KOs that they find, Captain America and Spider-Man, arguably 2 of the fastest re-engagers, so they'll both be back in time. This is not a done deal yet for Zero Tenacity. That's a good elim there onto Felix, so it'll probably be a 5-man recontest that comes out from EXO if they decide to go for it. They don't have the Karmic Revival just yet, but they will definitely have the tools to bleed this health bar out, or sorry, this time bank out. Speaking of health bars, though, there goes Wendy's.
Yeah, they are going to try to drag this out here. CYA taken down by Zero Tenacity already here. Marvel does have that Heaven's Retribution ready to go, but that spectacular spin is huge for Sung Juk Woo here. Triple KO. Felix going to follow up and get one as well, and just like that, screech to a halt is this Zero Tenacity offense. Less than 60 seconds to go. You know, EXO is going to look for some forward pressure here to try and choke out the last of that time bank.
Well, that's the scary thing, though, is Zero Tenacity, they use both Duelist Ults and the Royal Flush, and they're not able to win the fight, and they weren't even able to force out the Karmic Revival, so now they gotta win this next fight twice, and they don't have any good tools to do it. So Marvel is gonna have to try and fly around and hunt down Alone Fills, but that means he's not gonna be there to peel when Heaven's Retribution comes on down. Jerry's gonna clean up JT3, Zeta gonna fall as well. Good use of that Fate of Both Worlds. There's gonna be a BRB again for JT3, so even when Zero Tenacity win, they haven't fully won.
Yeah, it is a tough road here. Under 20 seconds left to go for Z10. They can see the finish line here, but they gotta find a play to get over the hump. JT3 going down early, though, at the hands of Exy on that Cyclops, and there's the Karmic Revival from Alone Phil, so he's gonna be back up, and they're gonna be ready to engage here. Rage of Ultron overhead for Felix. Exy trying to go for the play here, and JT3 dumps Marvel right off the side here. The Flyer beats the Flyer, sends him out of bounds. One more offline for Z10 here, and a big opening for EXO to try and close this out. Felix will find Wendy as well, so the Luna Snow taking out the fight very early on here. Health bar's looking pretty low. Marvel going over to the Doctor Strange, but there is no way he can get that portal in time, and EXO will stop Z10 short of checkpoint number 1.
Yeah, it's just such a good map pick and such a good meta read coming out from EXO. Like Zero Tenacity, they had the right tools. They had the hit scans, they had the Angela, they had everything they needed to try and lock down what EXO were trying to play, but EXO just played the map so well. JT3 or Sung Juk Woo, you know, they go in at the onto the backline at just the right times to draw aggro, and there's just not really any good tools that they can utilize to just turn around while also moving forward and creating space, so they just can't. They're not able to get the full cap, and that Karmic Revival, even though it only gets 1 onto JT3, when he comes back, he makes his presence felt. Bro has got so many second lives that come out from all those BRBs he burned up and the Karmic Revival, but he made the most of every single one of them.
Oh yeah, utilizing every life that he's got here. And yeah, I mean, you know, Gambit not in the cards for XOXO, but one card they definitely brought, their library card, because you are right, the read here is insane from EXO, and you can see it coming through here. Not only did they kind of squeak out an advantage like I talked about before this set started, but they took every single inch they could get from that advantage, and now here we are, 106 meters, all EXO is going to have to clear to even the score here and take their first map in this series. Not a ton of changes from EXO. It does look like Sung Juk Woo might be rolling out on this Daredevil here. JT3 might go for the Dino, but no, he swaps to the Magic at the last second here. Very curious to see how this plays out for EXO.
I mean, well, having fun is not hard when you've got your library card, and EXO are on Cloud 9 right now. Sung Juk Woo on the Magic. It's cleaned up pretty swiftly there by Marvel. There will be a BRB, so even though the spawn door is pretty close, even closer will be the res coming through, but EXO still already getting some forward momentum here. Zero Tenacity can't really hold them at the door, and with all the ground that they're giving up, EXO realistically only have to win one fight, and then they're threatening a completion of the map here.
Yeah, I was going to say, Z10 giving them a lot of respect here, but like you said, eating into how many fights they have to try and hold this thing down. Not quite 60 seconds away, and EXO's already halfway to the mark there, and Sung Juk Woo on the Magic will make a double kill right out of the gate here. Creative and Windy taken offline and still on the move here, trying to put as much forward pressure onto Z10 as they can, make it a triple KO, and Alone Fills will find one onto Exy as well. Most of Z10 offline, no hope of getting that Karmic Revival in, and now here comes the gas from EXO, some forward pressure just to try and finish this thing off.
He's gonna cancel the portal? I don't know if it landed the portal. It does still come through, but like I said, like that was your one fight. It's done. It's over. 2 men are already fallen, and it's a stagger fight for Zero Tenacity. They're not going to be able to get the Karmic Revival off. Jerry's going to have to cocoon, and you better believe EXO are going to have him on a leash. They're going to know exactly where he reses, and Alone Feels is going to chase him down. Try and burst down the Golden God. Jerry will tuck his tail between his legs and fly away off to safety, but only temporarily, as now Alone Feels rules the high ground, can continue to pepper in these shots. Once again has Jerry in his sights, will change his direction over towards Creative. Sungjuk Woo gets cleaned up by Exy, and now with that amp and the end song Inferno, Alone Feels is playing his favorite song, and it is a victory tune for EXO on Spider Islands.
Putting the end song Inferno here. Big damage buff from the Rocket at the very last, and with just under 2 minutes, EXO will close out their map pick, and now we are all tied up here. We've got a series on our hands because XOXO01 dominate here on Spider Islands. MVP going to Sungjuk Woo, making the Spider-Man work here in the big Season 8.5, and that is a dead heat between these two teams. What a run here for EXO. Yeah, the map pick has to be huge for them here.
And this is one of those maps where, you know, where Zero Tenacity, like, they didn't really get an opportunity to do anything. You know, Exy still comes out with 5 final hits, but he can't do everything. You know, you can set your Cyclops up for success. You can set him up to hit the shots to do the damage, but you need to find more than that, especially when the threats are coming at you from 16 different angles. There's only 6 of them, yet somehow they're finding, like, it's like they're, like, going up against an army. It's like Call of Duty Zombies. Like, after you finally win a fight against EXO, it's like, all right, who's ready for dog round?
Yeah, I mean, the perfect angle, no doubt, but EXO brought their mirrors here to reflect those lasers right back at him. And yeah, Exy pulled a lot of weight here. The most damage in the match overall, so you know he is really trying his best to keep the team in the fight. But like you said, just one superstar is not enough to overcome here, especially when EXO are kind of at full gear here. I mean, working overtime to stay in this fight. No doubt we are going to be going blow for blow between these two teams. We're already at least guaranteed a map number 4 here, but yeah, the Angela plays were big on Spider Islands, as it can be for her, but no doubt a couple of the best Angelas in the business here going head to head. Sungjuk Woo over onto the Magic at the end as well, finds that insane triple kill, threads it all together, and that is the end of the map for him. What a comeback here from EXO. They are far from finished here.
Yes, it's just the map geometry, like, it just plays so well into EXO's playstyle, especially Sungjuk Woo. You know, whether it was a Spider-Man or even at the end finding a triple on the Magic, it's so easy on that first point to get those flanks, to get access to the backline and strike before that your front line's able to peel, able to do anything about it, and he leverages that to its full extent. You know, again, righteously gets the MVP. 8 final hits for him, and you know, Zero Tenacity didn't even know what hit him before every single one of those final hits came through, but we've got a couple more hits that we've got to play. On the other side of this break, don't go anywhere, chat, we will be right back.
Pentagram of Farah. Our enemies are near. By the eye of Agamotto! Out, dark magic! Let the devil go! You couldn't be saved.
Well, you know what I say. We don't go to museum. We go to Spire Islands. We play some Angela, and we get quick games like that and a good win to tie it up and finally get our first 1-to-1 series here tonight on Ignite in our first Pacific playoff night. Now that's beautiful to see. I like it because we don't have a 3-0 situation. I don't know about you guys, but I'm happy for that.
I'm very happy, and I know that that one, Dan, after watching that one, shouts out, by the way, he's definitely going to be happy seeing that map. And I think, like, he's called XOXO01, yeah, we lost at home. Like, yeah, we lost at home. I think if they keep playing like this, it's fair to say it's coming home.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I'm still on the 5-map train here. I think that we've got some more surprises from Zero Tenacity in store here because map number 1, definitely close. But yeah, Spider Islands, when it is on Exo's territory, they deliver around every turn.
Absolutely, and that's what we love. We love to see a delivery of top-tier gameplay here in Ignite, and I'm hoping we get to see that from Z10 now. Look, they've got themselves a win on the board early on, took their domination victory, XOXO came back, but now Z10 said, you know what, let's take it to Manhattan. Let's go downtown, let's get it done and dusted. Let's see if we can get this win here on a map they know they can really bunker in and play, especially to their Cyclops advantage. I will say Spider-Man's not too strong here, so that may be something for EXO to consider, but nonetheless, we'll see how it all pans out. I mean, this map, though, it really invites a different kind of playstyle than what we just saw on Spider Islands.
Yeah, it plays very similarly to like a Central Park, but with slightly less flank routes. You know, it's going to be very bunker heavy for the defensive side, and you know, like you said, it's not very Spider-Manable. Like, you can't really get good access to a backline with a Spider-Man the way you could on a Central Park, or you know, like you definitely could on Spider Islands, like we saw time and time again. So there might need to be an adjustment that comes out from Sungjuk Woo. My question, though, is A, what's the adjustment going to be? And B, how deep does Zero Tenacity's preparation go? Because surely they're not prepping for something like a Magic.
Yeah, I mean, dive is so tough to run here in Lower Manhattan. Like you guys already said, if you're Spider-Man, you're basically swinging right at them and give them prime opportunity to shoot you out the sky before you even make it there. So yeah, a big question coming into this for EXO is, what do they do on this map? How do they respond in terms of team composition? Because that is going to be super important here. As we know, Z10, no strangers to some solid hit scan plays. Exy going to step his game up for sure, maybe on that Cyclops if he survives the draft phase.
I think, like, you know, you mentioned, like, you can't really, like, swing, like, in Lower Manhattan, you're swinging right at them. I don't even think you can really swing a lot on this map. Like, you just kind of walk at them. Bro's not even a spider at that point. He's just man.
Just man. But maybe, speaking of man, before man, many millennia ago, there were dinosaurs. The question is, will we see Devil Dinosaur dominating last patch? But now, nobody's playing him, nobody's banning him. Unfortunately, the patch notes weren't friendly to our Jurassic friend, but it is a great dino map. Could see him nonetheless, maybe if they want to bring it out and go with a bit of comfort over the, you know, the normal picks that we're going to see coming out of this meta. However, we're going to get into that ban phase. We're going to get into the mix. We're going to find out very soon. Is Cyclops going to survive the ban phase? Are we going to get one-sided Gambit again? Does Rogue make it out? That's hilarious, actually. Normally, we were banning out Gambit to deny Rogue even being picked, but now we're like, let's actually just ban the Rogue. We'll let Gambit through, actually. Maybe ban the Styled as well. So we're banning who Gambit works well with, because I think teams have finally had enough of Gambit having a near 100% ban rate in these in these Ignite matches. So we're going to give Mr. Miyamura, Mr. the Cajun, some extra time. Finally, he can play. And we can really see, is this guy actually the broken strategist? Spoiler alert, you're damn right he is.
He's still broken, but I think he's taken enough nerfs to where he doesn't need to be that first ban. Like, you can just, you know, like you said, let him through, but ban out the stuff that he enables and play around the Royal Flushes. And I think most teams, especially these two, are more keen to ban out the Mantis first because of the things that she enables.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, Gambit, you know, has been nerfed enough now that by himself he is not as deadly as he has been, but
don't tell Twitter that, though.
Definitely not. I mean, it does require you to ban some things. It does require you to commit a lot of your draft to making sure he can't go berserk on you when the map starts up. But yeah, that's kind of the question here. It is going to be the Mantis, though. We are going to stick right on with it here as, yeah, she, Mantis is nasty right now.
Yeah, it's just the amount of things that she can enable. Like I was saying, like, you know, you pair her up with a Cyclops, which, you know, we're gonna see a Protect coming out right out the gate. That damage just becomes all the more nasty. It's also the fact that she enables that that Torch Ultron composition that has slowly been creeping back up into the fray. And I say slowly because only a couple of teams have played it to pretty good success, but it's been enough, like, not enough to take over, but enough to where some people are afraid of it, haven't gotten a whole lot of practice against it, and definitely don't want to play against it, you know, as like a pocket strat and an official. So better to not even risk it and just play into a Cyclops. You know, hey, both sides going to go ahead and protect it. You will take that, but, you know, just no damage amp. Just tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, EXO really going for all of those high-level backliners here. Rocket off the table for Zero Tenacity. They will at least save the Luna for themselves, so they've got somebody back there in the backline to keep the team up. But Wolverine Band coming out from Z10 here, so no Wolf, no Beyblade action here on Lower Manhattan for either side of the board, because EXO going to take him right back off. But yeah, it is going to be Cyclops v Cyclops all over again here. So Alone Phils and Exy going to have round 2 here. Luna going to be saved by EXO as well. Z10 got 1 band left to go, and then we are ready to hit the streets of Lower Manhattan.
I mean, I think if it's a Rocket, we end up with mirror bands, right? Like both teams going for essentially the same bands. But the Wolverine band is something that I do also kind of want to highlight, because I think, you know, with the way you mentioned the team ups, and I think that is a huge boom. But I think even without the team ups, with the way this map kind of plays out, both teams are going to want to play Groot, and Groot doesn't play nicely with Wolverine. Wolverine just kind of uses him as a scratching post, so neither side is going to want to deal with that right now. But is Zero Tenacity privy to this strange TP play? We see a lot of teams on this map choose this as their method of engagement, able to dodge the penny mines that come out from Marvel. Do Z10 know where disaster is about to strike? Let's find out.
Good response here from them. They do turn around and start the fight. But welcome to Lower Manhattan here. EXO opening the back door and taking a peek right on inside. Songjak Woo is on the magic here, so they're just looking to go through the portal and fight close up here. Not going to walk their way through the courtyard, and it's Alone Phils that's going to find the first blood here, taking down Marvel, who's on the penny. So mines and webs off of the capture point here, and EXO boots all on here as they make their way on through and set up for the fight here. Exy in a little bit of trouble here. Wendy will find Songjak Woo on the invis, but Felix will finish off the Cyclops for now. Soko in a little bit of trouble on that Groot as well to start things off. But yeah, definitely if you want Groot on the board, you got to get rid of the deforestation machine that is Wolverine here.
And they've done so. Alone Phil's going to get rid of the Golden God as well. A parting shot there onto Jerry. There's going to be a cocoon, but so far away from the res. And Zero Tenacity are bleeding members one by one. Slowly but surely, that second tick is coming on through. Exy trying to shut down Songjak Woo, and with that ricochet shot will do just that. Still denying that second tick. And Zero Tenacity, they at least have enough manpower to stand their ground for the time being while they bring back their reinforcements from the spawn door. Z10 yeets that Strangling Prison in, though, catches 3, and taking down Jerry. No second chances this time, my friend. Exy trades 1 out for Felix, but it's just not enough, as EXO are just bursting Z10 down, and Songjak Woo even back onto the Spider-Man. He is no mere man. He is something far, far more sinister.
No, I mean, they were looking for a way to get over the hill here and get this capture point unlocked. A huge Strangling Prison from Z10, who has been a demon on the Groot in the group stage as well. We've seen some big plays from him. He is over onto the Venom for now, but yet another clutch play from EXO's Groot player here as they're on the move and onto the streets of Lower Manhattan here. Of course, gonna see that battle for the high ground here, and EXO in full force on top there. It is gonna be an invisible boundary from Wendy, now forcing out the fate of both worlds, and a huge stun from that Eye of Agamotto onto Z10. They are protected by that boundary, but a big play there. Ruby Rage as the strat ult goes offline and will find one. Z10 will pick up another. Exy at least trying to make it a 2-for-1 here so they don't lose too much value. But yeah, EXO really on the move here to start things off.
I think JT3 is going to be chopped to bits there by Marvel, and that should put a stop to this attacking phase for the time being. But EXO, like we said, the fight ain't over till they say it's over, and Songjak Woo says, I still got something to say. Check out my spectacular spin move. Taking down Exy. There's going to be Soko now with the Strangling Prison just to punish Z10 for going in too deep. And Zero Tenacity white-knuckling their way into this fight despite EXO's best efforts. A parting shot there onto Ace should once again hopefully put a stop to it, but for how long?
Yeah, I mean, Soko putting in some work here on his Groot, on his own Groot on the side of Zero Tenacity here. They are able to stop that blazing fast offense from EXO, but they've still got 3 minutes on the clock to find some kind of answer here to keep the push going. They are going to have to take some time and build some resources here because they are drained at the moment. Marvel, though, has that Heaven's Retribution ready to go, but stunned right away in the middle of it here. EXO trying to hang on for dear life. Ace goes down first, though. Strategist in trouble for EXO 01 here as they are trying to find a way to keep their feet on the street here, but Zero Tenacity are biting back. The pendulum swinging their way for now. 2:40 on the clock still, and XC finding JT3 onto the Cyclops here, sends that dino all the way back to spawn.
And with the map scan, XC knows exactly where Sungjuk Woo is lurking as well, so they don't really have to worry as much about him swinging in because they know right about when it's going to happen. In fact, they've even hunted him down, and XC is going to be able to put him to bed for the time being, and EXO, again, going to have to slow their roll. They can't set up the pinch with Sungjuk Woo the way they would like to, so they're just going to take their lead for the time being temporarily, and Marvel is going in there, striking, creating more space for XC to keep peppering in these shots, building up to his next Ruby Rage. He just used it, and he's halfway to another one.
Yeah, that high ground so important here. Gives you a full view of the city block. It is going to be a feast of the abyss, though, from Z10. Now 1 for 1 here. Felix and Wendy going to get some KOs moving, and there is a Fate of Both Worlds on the board for EXO here. They just can't find a great way to keep following up on it. It'll keep them up and alive for now, but the question is, how do they get themselves back in the fight? They do have control of the mission vehicle now, so they're going to be able to make some progress, but the time is ticking away, whereas they had over 4 minutes coming into this second checkpoint. Now down to just 1:30 as Z10 have slowly shaved the seconds away here. So EXO need to find an answer. They gotta start finding it quick.
There's a lot of critical health bars that come through from Zero Tenacity, but Wendy's crisis management has been stellar. Hasn't been forced to use the Fate of Both Worlds yet, holding on to it for the time being. In fact, Creative going to duplicate so he can hold on to it for even longer, and with the Ice Darts, he'll take down Ace. Jerry is good for one at the Sungjuk Woo as well, and EXO, once again, forced to scurry away from the point here. Zero Tenacity, they are back in this series with a couple of pokes from his mighty skewer. Marvel will put them down, but Sungjuk Woo swapping over onto the Daredevil. Even still, even in his spawn door, he is not ready to give up the fight. For the time being, he'll calm down his rage, but oh, you better believe that devil is going to be let out before long.
Yeah, very soon. 80% and counting there for that next ult for Sungjuk Woo here. EXO, though, a very hot flame to start off. Now feels like it is quickly burning out here. Strangling Prison from Soko, but it is going to be the Ruby Rage from both sides of the board here. Both of them getting some big multi-KOs, but it's XC that edges them out. Triple KO and a full ace onto EXO. 30 seconds on the clock, so they got to make a move and make it quick here. I don't know if they have the Strange Portal online, so it might just be a rapid rollout from them.
EXO thought they had the win condition there. They dumped all their ultimates. They're only going to have Let the Devil out. Jerry held on to this Galactic Legend, though, and there's also going to be that Heaven's Retribution. It's not the best combo, but it's one that could work, and it's not one that EXO have any tools to deal with, so you have to keep an eye on Marvel. Jerry is going to take to the skies Galactic Legend, but Sungjuk Woo lets the Devil out all over him, taking the fight directly up to the stars and brings him back down to Earth. Heaven's Retribution now coming up from Marvel, locking down the back line of EXO, but it's just not enough. They are more than happy to oblige. Loneville's down from the high ground, takes down Creative, finds himself skewered, but the damage has been done as JT3 cleans up Wendy, going deep into the back line, will find Soko as well, and that is going to be EXO back in the driver's seat as overtime starts to tick away.
Yeah, huge fight win for them here. Resurrected is this EXO squad. Now forward pressure coming out. JT3 leading the charge and finding the KOs here. XC can't even get back into the fight as that mission vehicle full speed ahead here. Z10 will find one as well. EXO looking clean here at the last second by the skin of their teeth. They might make it here to checkpoint number 2. They got to clear a dino out of the way though. Soko over onto the Devil Dinosaur, and he's down already. Alone Phil's on the Cyclops, burns right on through. Wendy in trouble and going down. One strategist offline, Creative onto the Loki, and now there are no heals left for Zero Tenacity, and in overtime, over half of that overtime gone. EXO revived here, a minute 30 left on the clock.
I mean, EXO somehow able to pull a rabbit out of the hat, and Zero Tenacity just can't seem to put it back in despite their best efforts, despite their swaps. I'm wondering if they're going to stay on this Devil Dino, and maybe up against the Spider-Man, you're feeling like that might be a good option, but you could also potentially see a dinosaur go careening off a cliff here if Sungjuk Woo gets a good pull. You can tell he is looking for it. He's looking for an opportunity. He wants to yank someone off the bridge. Can't quite grab a backliner, but will swing off to an angle where he can continue to pressure them, and it's once again Zero Tenacity forced to keep their head on a swivel, but Aloneville's head is going to be on the floor as XC leaves it rolling with a nice little ricochet shot there, and EXO are going to back up, give ground, and Zero Tenacity can get themselves back in control.
Yeah, one more optic blast here for Xe. Sungjuk Woo, though, on the move. Maybe not an off map, but he'll find one onto Wendy here. Good target prio. Xe will find Ace, though, evening things out. Now Felix has Fate of Both Worlds ready to go, and now EXO gonna move in here and make some plays. KO feed turning orange here for XOXO01. Alone Phil's finding a double on the Cyclops, and now the path is open yet again here. It's just Marvel and Wendy still standing, but a solid run here. Over halfway to checkpoint number 3. 20 seconds left to go. It is gonna have to be done in overtime if they want to clear this map.
Yeah, all these X's and O's, I can guarantee you they are not dishing out hugs and kisses right now. A Ruby Rage is on deck for Alone Fills, and that might be able to burst right through Wendy's Fate of Both Worlds. Wendy has to be perfect with this ultimate. You could tell Alone Fills was thinking about it. He's going to go for it. Burst down Soko and gets Jerry as well. There's going to be a skewer that comes out from Marvel, but he can't confirm the environmentals. So Zero Tenacity now down 2 members. That Fate of Both Worlds is going to be load bearing for the time being. Kumiho unleashed as well, but Xe is not inside of either of those ultimates, and Sungjuk Woo takes full advantage. Spectacular Spin is going to find the back line, and EXO are putting their foot on the gas, and Zero Tenacity being buried 6 feet under. Soko is going to be skewered by Zeta, and there should be the full cap coming through. Only Jerry on the Daredevil to try and stall it out for the time being, but he'll get carried off, taken for a ride, and this one, my friend, is one way, and it's EXO's way.
And we talked about load-bearing strategist ults, but they cannot bear that load. The momentum from XOXO01, like they woke up halfway through the map and decided to just finish the offensive push here. They've got no time in the bank left, but they've got 3 checkpoints to their name and now leave Zero Tenacity with their work cut out for them on their territory. So a solid offensive performance. Those Z10 definitely got some hands here. It is not going to be a walk in the park as we swap sides here after halftime. But yeah, good to see EXO kind of find that flow in the middle of the match and just KO after KO. They knew all they needed to do was wait out the couple strategist ults, wait out the Fate of Both Worlds, wait out the Kumiho Unleashed, and let that damage fly. Ruby Rage and Spectacular Spin online at the same time for them. Huge damage potential, and you can see it just melts right through the front line.
I'm starting to get a little bit worried about this map pick, though, for Zero Tenacity, because, like, when you go for a map pick like a Lower Manhattan, you're trying to play for the defensive side. The fact that EXO were able to get the full cap here now puts the onus on Z10 to try and set a blistering fast tempo. They have to match that progress and hopefully get away with a little bit of extra time, just so they'll have an advantage if they take this to extra innings, because that's the only way they can win this map pick that they chose and avoid EXO going up onto match point. It's a stellar performance on EXO's attack now on the defensive side. Sungjuk Woo on the Black Cat. I had heard rumors that she was dead and buried, but Sungjuk Woo has other ideas.
Yeah, you know, we kind of asked coming into this, how is EXO going to change with the meta? For Sungjuk Woo, the answer is, I'm not. I'm going to play Spider-Man, I'm going to play Magic, I'm going to play Black Cat. But the answer for Zero Tenacity here to start off on offense, the same one that EXO gave them, a Doctor Strange portal in the back door, and now Zero Tenacity here and ready for a fight and ready to take down Felix right out the gate here. Creative on the White Fox, going to find one very early on here, and they are looking to keep that pain going. Black Cat already sent back to the spawn here. 2 big KOs for Zero Tenacity. They are going to get that second tick here and maybe some more as the Gru walls come up and the bodies go down for EXO. Another KO for that White Fox for Creative here. Just a little bit left to go here as Felix throws down the Doctor Strange portal, ready for a fight, but Jerry was waiting with the Billy Clubs here. Wendy finding a double KO on the Luna, a double for Jerry as well, and just like that, 5:30 on the clock for Zero Tenacity.
That's exactly what we needed to see from them. No hesitation. You just go in, find the picks, find the KOs, and get a fast point cap. And now 5.5 minutes to try and get through point B. Again, though, like, this is where cards tend to stall out for longer periods of time, so you have to keep the staggers going. And Jerry, privy to that, will catch out Sungjuk Woo. I think he was going for a backliner instead. He might have accidentally dealt a fatal blow to Sungjuk Woo. He'll be back relatively fast, but once again, you know, every single man that you manage to take down is going to force EXO to play a little bit further back than they would be comfortable with, and that gives another opening for Jerry. Can't confirm that Elim onto Alone Fills as we have a pause. Xe snipes Sungjuk Woo out of the spawn again, and I'm wondering if Sungjuk Woo called for the pause because he was like, hang on, what are you saying to flark me for?
Had to pause to let him get up off the mat there because, yeah, a couple of real fast back-to-back KOs. But they know that he's a threat here. Even all these dive heroes that we thought were dead and buried, he's still able to roll out and put out some damage. But, yeah, a blazing hot start here for Zero Tenacity. Exactly what they need to do. They know they're going to have to play out rounds 3 and 4 if they want to win this map and get to that early match point here. So, yeah, like you were saying, exactly what you want to see if you're on the side of Z10 here. It's a lot of aggression. You see they've already got forward pressure on to try and stop EXO from even fighting for that high ground, that building kind of in the middle of that block there. So, you know, very aggressive early start. They basically just took that page right out of EXO's book and said, you know, I'll copy your homework, but I'll change it just a little bit so we don't get caught.
And they might have changed it so where they might get a higher grade, you know, if they're able to keep this one going, because like I said, like the pace, like even as the pause comes through, they're halfway through point B, 5 minutes in the time bank still, and off of that elim onto Sungjuk Woo. Like, as the map opens up after point A, I do think the Spider-Man becomes significantly more viable, and we saw that on EXO's attack, you know, especially on point C, but if they just keep the forward presence going and make it harder for Sungjuk Woo to get in, and they keep picking him off every time he tries, they can keep it 6v5 and hopefully just parlay that into more and more card progress, force EXO into more and more uncomfortable engagements, and hopefully be able to just, you know, snowball it all the way through.
Yeah, and it feels like they've got map control right now, so they have the opportunity to just snipe down Sungjuk Woo every single time he rolls out a spawn. And that's what we saw right before the pause, of course, already waiting on that spawn timer, 10 seconds left before that Spider-Man's back up after we get the game going again. But, yeah, tough looks here on defense so far for EXO, but, you know, they were kind of slow on the uptake on offense as well. They got stuck right around where we are right now. Took them a while to get going, so I'm interested to see if they kind of have that karmic revival of energy in the middle of it, find a way to start getting their heels dug in, because 5 minutes is a lot when they're already halfway to checkpoint 2.
All right, well, the match has started back up, so we will see what they're able to do with this abundance of time. They got nothing but time, and they have got Ace, Jerry. As I've said a couple of times, there's nothing righteous about that cross. Just goes in, deletes a backliner, and again, that is a stagger that you can't afford. We're now passing the halfway point for this cart, and EXO, like, they can't even really walk through the choke back to try and, you know, even mount anything resembling a contest.
Yeah, there's just too much pressure here. Marvel is right at the front there, throwing down the Groot walls. He's got a Strangling Prison ready to go too, so be on the lookout for that one. But yeah, they are just looking to keep him locked down, and there it is, locks down the Dino, keeping JT3 in place. They'll finish off Wendy, though. That's Lone Phil sniping down from the backside here. Zatha as well, gonna find one. Double KO for Cyclops, and EXO turns it on its head here. Sungjuk Woo taken out yet again, unfortunately, by Soko. But meanwhile, the rest of the team gonna make it a 1-4-5 here, favoring EXO, and just like that, they're able to put the brakes on, but there's still 4 minutes on the clock for Z10.
But I think, like, this is where you're starting to feel pretty good for EXO, though, because, like, Lone Phil's comes through with the triple, gives them the breathing room they need, and now with the cart being as close as it is, and EXO in control, the spawn advantage is going to be on their side from here on out. There's going to be a lot of ults coming out from Zero Tenacity, but if they're not careful, if they overexpend on this first fight, EXO can just bide their time, come back in, and retake it off the stagger fight.
Yeah, gonna have to play it very close to their chest here, but gonna find one here. It's Ace taking down the Groot on the side of Z10. That forces out that fate of both worlds here. Ruby Rage now from Exy, but it's not gonna find the damage here. The club open for both teams here. Creative's got a Kumio Unleashed to keep the ball rolling. Both teams gonna just let every ult they've got rip here, blow for blow, but EXO still able to maintain control over the map here. Defense, that Iron Curtain is up for EXO here. Kumio Unleashed going offline for Ace now. They're still holding a couple of their ults and still finding the KOs here. Triple for JT3 on the Dinosaur, and now all gas, no brakes here for EXO. Big forward pressure for them.
Yeah, that could not have gone worse for Zero Tenacity. Like, literally, just like I said, they overexpended and they still lost the fight. EXO get to hold on to 2 big ultimates, the Freedom Charge and Let the Devil Out. Jerry can mirror the former, but there's nothing... Or sorry, they can mirror the latter, but there's nothing for the former. And now EXO have map control once again. The cart is inching backwards. And now the Freedom Charge is going to come out. EXO want to press this advantage and force Zero Tenacity once again to work overtime just to even get to the cart.
Yeah, I mean, this is a beautiful defense here. 2:30 on the clock for Z10, and they've already lost Jerry. They've lost their whole team in this fight. Exy and Creative the only ones able to walk away, and EXO still standing right there. A devil in the doorway. Sungjuk Woo letting that devil out here, and EXO firmly planting their feet and saying, go on, try us.
it just goes from bad to worse. You know, Jerry not able to get that ultimate off with a charm. It just comes to at the perfect time. Huge play that comes out from Ace, and now Zero Tenacity. Your silver lining is you still got 2 minutes, and Xe is coming up on a Ruby Rage, and maybe you can try and make something happen with that one, but Alone Phils has one too. Andy's got the high ground, and Windy isn't going to be there, so you can't push up, but Marvel didn't get the memo. He'll be cut down like the log that he is, and Alone Phils will continue to reign supreme on these streets.
Yeah, I mean, massive dinks for Alone Phils there. A couple headshots and a right click later, and that's one strategist already gone. And speaking of gone, Zero Tenacity's time bank, Thanos snapped away. 1:30 left for them when they had 5 minutes coming into this checkpoint. Marvel, though, gonna try to turn the tide here. Big strangling prison. They'll find 2 off the back of that one. That's all they're gonna get out of it, but they need the KOs here. They need to start finding a way to chip down this defense here. A couple of KOs, and now they're on the move, but CB, there's about 1 minute left on the clock, and they still got a little bit of distance to cover.
And good discipline from EXO, like they don't spend any ultimates. This is uncharacteristic of them, but it's very smart. They back off and give up a little bit more progress. Xe will snipe out Sungjuk. Ruby Rage now gonna come out. Ace cleans up Soko. Xe gonna try and return fire with a Ruby Rage of his own, but it doesn't find anything. Fate of Both Worlds now coming out from Felix, and EXO are gonna be able to hold on for the time being. And the spawn advantage now as we round the corner again will be back on EXO's side. So Zero Tenacity, they need to try and find these picks. They need to try and find these elims, but Sungjuk Woo goes in, and with his hammer fist coming down, just collapse onto 2 members of the backline, and Z10, they tried so hard to try and make something happen, but EXO just took it all right out from underneath them, and now with 32 seconds, you said their time bank got Thanos snapped. Even Thanos was more generous than cutting 5 minutes down to 25 seconds.
Yeah, and this may have been Zero Tenacity's map pick, but Manhattan is Spider-Man's turf here. Sungjuk Woo, big triple KO, putting them in the driver's seat here, and very likely making it look like they could close this map out about any time here. Big pick on the Marvel from Sungjuk Woo already. That Fate of Both Worlds goes down, but it can't save Jerry either. He will find Felix, though. That's going to force out a Kumiho Unleashed from EXO, but now we are in overtime, and Zero Tenacity is not near that second checkpoint. Sonic Seduction now coming out from Soko as he's over onto the Emma Frost, but he's already in some trouble here. Jerry forced to go over to Doctor Strange, get that portal going because the frontliners, the Vanguard's the only ones left, and Marvel goes down too. It's a quadra KO for Alone Phils, and they might find it just a sliver of overtime, and it is gone. EXO win it on Zero Tenacity's map pick, and they will go to match point. 5.5 minutes in the time bank, but Zero Tenacity, they just lost the tempo. They lost the ult economy in that one fight, and they were never able to recover. You can't give a team like EXO the momentum because they will ride the waves all the way. They will keep the pressure going and force you to scratch and claw and play in uncomfortable fights all the way on through. It was so close to coming through for the cap, but it just doesn't happen. Z10 just can't execute when it comes down to it. And speaking of executions, Alone Phils dishing out 23 of them. I shudder to say it. I think he gapped Xe on the Cyclops here. Bit of a Cyclops differential, although, you know, things don't happen in a vacuum. You know, I'm going to give Xe a little bit of credit. It's not just a head-to-head. But, you know, I called Xe one of the best hit scans in the world, potentially. Alone Phils is making a case as well. He is no slouch. He came to play today, and he has taken it to Xe. 60 eliminations for Alone Phil's Cyclops. That tells you that he is in every single fight, scrapping with the best of them. And it is double-digit final hits for a lot of EXO on the other side of this one. Of course, Sungjuk Woo cannot overlook his contributions in this match because the Spider-Man plays absolutely insane. Both teams, very early aggression coming out from both of them here, but both teams, it felt like they flared out very quickly. The challenge here on this match was figuring out how to reset, how to reconnect with the mission vehicle, and how to overcome the defense. EXO found the answer. Zero Tenacity did not here. They could not find a way to overcome that defensive effort from EXO, and looking bad from the start, no doubt from EXO. They did get run over on that first checkpoint, but from then on, that next city block, it was all EXO, XO01.
And I guess the question now, Diatonic, is like, where do we go from here? Because you just played, you know, potentially the best map pick that you could have given, and you lost it. Maybe you go to another domination, and sure, maybe you can win that, but then you go to a map 5. You've got to win a map that is not domination. It kind of feels like outside of that map mode, EXO are tenacious, and Zero Tenacity living up to their namesake on that map. We'll see if they can live up to their potential, though, as we have map number 4 on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere, chat. We will be right back.
Pentagram of Farala. Our enemies are near. By the Eye of Agamotto! Out, dark magic! Let the devil go! You couldn't be saved.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Marvel Rivals Ignite here today in the Pacific region. We're doing playoffs. It's day one, and we finally have our first map 4 of the day. Okay, no 3-0s here for now. However, XOXO might go for their 3-1 if they get this next map. But to differentiate why things are going the way they are, let's talk about the bans. Let's talk about the drafts, how they're going so far. Right now, Mantis, 100% ban rate across the board in this series at the moment right now. No team has had the Mantis. At the same time, XOXO, they're up 2 maps, but they haven't had Gambit available either. But there was something that we addressed earlier, and it finally showed up. The Devil Dinosaur came out from Z10. What do we think about that?
I think if there was ever a map that it was going to happen, it was going to be this one, because he's another great anchor vanguard. You know, he fills a similar role to the Emma Frost, but his shoop the whoop beam being able to ground some of those targets, and the bleeds that you're able to proc, like, there's still a ton of value there. He still works very well in some of these, very close quarters brawly engagements, and JT3 was able to make that swap. It was a very heads-up swap that came out from him and helped EXO keep the tempo in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a big body to buy yourself some time here. And of course, hypercharge your backline while he's taking that damage. But yeah, unfortunately, the laser beam now has kind of become the PowerPoint laser pointer. That's about all you're going to get out of that right click off of the Devil Dinosaur. But yeah, definitely interesting ban line so far, kind of giving us an idea of what we're going to see going forward. But yeah, I think it's back to the drawing board here for Z10. Gotta find a way to get past this EXO defense, because whew, it feels like insurmountable.
I kind of feel like, a good way forward, if they can get it, and it's going to be really hard to, I think they need to try and find a way to ban the rocket. Even though it wasn't showing up as much on that map, I do kind of feel like with the tempo that EXO is trying to set on a lot of these maps and the way that they are playing, like I think back to Spider Islands, how many reses they are getting and the amount of aggression that they can provide, knowing that they have that buffer. They have one extra life to give as long as they're playing in that range. I think they're getting a ton of value out of that. And I think that's something that that Z10 need to try and snipe out in the ban phase if they can, because it might mean, like, trying to go for that might mean letting the Mantis through, and that might be worse. So I don't know. Like, that's rough. It's a tall task.
Oh, letting the Mantis through, that's a risk. That's a risk. But it's maybe the risk Z10 need to take right now. If they can let the Mantis through, secure themselves the Rocket or the Gambit, vice versa, maybe Gambit alongside the Rogue, get that full marriage team up going, it could be a little extra sauce they need to get the power to take down XOXO. But right now, XOXO, they're all over the place in the good way. As they got the Venom, they got the Spider-Man swinging around. So even if, you got yourself a Bucky, maybe Jerry on the Bucky trying to hook him in, try to, lock things down. XOXO, they're swarming them like flies right now. As Z10, they're just getting picked by the bone. So right now, if Z10 want to show up and show out, they got to show a really good stance here and play this very, I'm going to say it, it's coming, high risk, high reward when it comes to this next ban phase right now. Because if you play sort of just this clinical ban phase we've had for the past 3 maps where both teams are taking out the same thing each side, everyone's kind of walking away with a bit of an even playing field, it's gone in favor of EXO so far. But Z10, they're going to go for Hell's Heaven. Last time we checked, they did win Krakoa, so maybe Domination is their map to tie this series up.
It's like I said before the break, you know, like Z10, sure, but you can take it to a domination because you won that again, but you still, in order to win this series, have to win a map that is not domination. So that map 5 is going to be looming quite large, casting a big shadow over this map, even if they can get through it, because, you know, we go back to Krakoa, and sure, Z10 won, but that one was on the razor's edge, and the other 2 maps weren't quite close. So I think the momentum is in favor of EXO, and I think even if Z10 win this one, it's going to be close.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, we're talking about the shadow of map number 5, but I think there's one here too. I'm on the same page as you, CB. It's gonna be a big question mark if Zero Tenacity can make Lightning strike twice on domination, because yeah, it was by the skin of their teeth that they took Krakoa, and considering now EXO have won 2 maps in a row, they've got the momentum on their side too. Considering how much of a dead heat Krakoa was, that might be just the slight advantage they need to maybe flip domination their way and close the series in 4.
And you know what? I'm going to be a very nice guy to everybody watching. I'm going to remind you all to actually get your predictions in. I keep forgetting, honestly, so you get your predictions in, get your channel points going, do what you got to do, get it going, and root for the team as much as you can in the chat. At the end of the day, they are only here to put on a show and entertain us, and they got that competitive spirit, and maybe you can feel them. If you believe Z10 can flip it, maybe get that series back in their favor, then that's on you. Support them. Or are you cheering for XOXO to wrap it on up and secure themselves further into tomorrow? We'll find out, of course, but it's not the last match as well. Later on, we got Burgers versus Genji. It's going to be a fun one as well. But we're going to jump into this ban phase real quick, everybody. We're going to see how it's all going off as we are entering Hell's Heaven. Personal favorite map of mine. Also, going to say it, it's another great Angela map. We could see the Angela again. JT3 and Marvel, known for it. However, if Angela's not going to make it through, if maybe Angela gets banned, we could see the Rogue Gambit factor show up again. This map is very tight corners and very things will get intimate very quickly. Venom is a good option here. Luna combination, both their ults can work as well. You could also throw in that Bucky factor if Jerry wants to lock in the Winter Soldier. Right now, it's eyes on Jerry. We're waiting to see what Jerry can do. Finally, Jerry can lock in and get that power play we know they can.
And speaking of the map pick, you know, you talk about how it's a good map for the Angela. I do also think Frozen Airfield specifically is also going to be a very good map for a lot of the heroes that Sungjuk Woo wants to play, both the Spider-Man, and if he has to reach into that back pocket again and pull out a magic, I think that is a huge map for that. To a lesser extent, maybe Eldritch Monument as well. There's a little bit of discord, though, when it comes to Super Soldier Factory, because that one is great for Angela, but less great for the Spider-Man. So we'll have to see. I think that's going to be the one that Z10 need to win. I think if they lose that one, they're cooked, and they have to try and find a win on one of the other 2 maps. Their best bet is probably going to be Eldritch Monument and Super Soldier Factory.
Yeah, I mean, definitely eyes on what order the sub-maps come out in, because, yeah, the fight definitely is going to change as this map progresses. Draft coming in, though, of course. Mantis going to keep that 100% ban rate here. No signs of her in this matchup. Rogue ban coming out from EXO. They're going back to the map 1 and 2 strat they had before. They will save the Cyclops, and, of course, Gambit for Zero Tenacity is going to be on the board here. Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting one to play out here. And, you know, I got to highlight again, you know, EXO, you know, they're bringing the Cyclops to the table, of course, so they're keeping up with the times. But other than the Cyclops pick for Alone Fills, it feels like a lot of what EXO is bringing here is what we've seen from them in the past. The same kind of beats over and over again. Of course, Rocket going to be taken off the table for both sides, so no CYAs in sight here on Hell's Heaven.
Yeah, and again, you know, that we had the rocket ban on both sides on Lower Manhattan. It didn't really work out for Zero Tenacity, but I wanted to make sure that they got that again, especially on a map that I think does play very well into that Spider-Man, because it does mean that Sungjuk Woo isn't just going to be getting those free lives. It doesn't mean that JT3 is going to get those free extra lives when he tries to go in on the Angela, that I think no doubt we're going to see coming out at some point on this map. We're going to have a Luna Snow Protect for EXO and a Cyclops Protect, just to make sure that Exy can match that Cyclops on the other side. He has at times gotten the better of Alone Fills, but at other times Alone Fills has come out ahead in that Cyclops 1v1. So we're going to have to see what ends up happening here. Exy, my boy, it is now or never. And Jerry, you also got to come up huge, my friend, because Sungjuk Woo has made his presence felt on heroes like the Spider-Man, which, as we kick things off on Eldritch Monument, like I said, one of the maps Zero Tenacity has to win. It's a map where Sungjuk Woo is bringing that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man out to play once again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've really got my eyes on Jerry here. It feels like he hasn't fully shown up to the fight, so if there's any time for him to show up, it is now, but Z10 showing up early on here. Creative already taken down. One strategist for Zero Tenacity off the table here, and it is gas from EXO here. Sungjuk Woo will take down Soko, showing no signs of slowing down here. They get the first cap as well. EXO in the driver's seat right off the bat.
And they're feeling, I think EXO are playing a little bit scared. Like they were a little hesitant trying to take that angle, and they just forgot how fast EXO hits you. Like Z10 just comes right in, wastes no time, takes the fight straight to Creative, takes him down, and before long, Sungjuk Woo is there for some cleanup as well. You get a quick little two-piece, and Zero Tenacity, they can't play for the map control, they can't play for the positioning that they want, and even trying to come through the choke. Z10, no fear, he just dives right into the backline. He'll get bursted down to low HP, but he trusts his team, and trusts that Luna Snowflake. The healing will come through. He's going to be able to get out alive and go right back in for seconds.
I was gonna say, that's basically the equivalent of a trust fall in Marvel Rivals here. Z10 going solo, and he's low again, maybe single-digit HP, and Soko will finally finish him off here. Stop for the selfie, but JT3 gonna get right back in the mix as well. Back onto the Devil Dinosaur for now. The Hammer coming out from Soko, and now it is trading blows here, blow for blow, and Z10 are able to make some progress on the capture point. EXO gonna have to give this one up, but they do make 53% on their first take, so definitely a solid start for them, but now Z10, their opportunity to shine.
But now that they control the chokes, like you say, it's their opportunity to shine. They have to keep Sungjuk Woo on lockdown as best they can. I think he's already managed to get in up on the high ground there. Going to be looking to try and clamp down on a backliner, and Z10 can also just go in the back door as well. This two-man hit squad that could come through, you got to pay close attention to. Diving on in, Alonefills just takes down Jerry. We said we needed to see Jerry do something, but that was not it.
Yeah, and a double here for Alonefills on the Cyclops, and he's hungry for even more. A triple KO now. Soko find one onto Sungjuk Woo in the middle of all that, but it's a 3-for-1 and an easy flip here for EXO yet again. Now the lead continues to extend here, and they hold a lot of the cards.
And here's the difference, like when EXO is in control of the point, it's just the way that they're postured. They're aggressive. They are checking all of their angles. They are ready for whatever Zero Tenacity want to come through. But when Zero Tenacity are in control of the point, they are wondering. They're confused. They don't really know where EXO is going to hit them next. They just have to try and react. And even when EXO's in control, Sungjuk Woo going in aggressively with the spectacular spin, forcing out that Rage and Royal Flush. But there's so much daylight between EXO and Zero Tenacity that Royal Flush only going to be used to burst down Z10. And he's Captain America. He'll run right in before long. Alonefills going in with that Ruby Rage. Sungjuk Woo just deletes Creative, as is his want. Soko getting bursted down as well. And late fate of both worlds from both sides. This dance-off ain't going the way Zero Tenacity wanted. And EXO maintaining control. 99% OT ticks over, and Zero Tenacity still on the outside looking in.
No, and it's Value City for EXO. They got 2 KOs, and Exy missed the Ruby Rage here. JT3 and Ace gonna find a couple KOs here, and just like that, 1 point of Hell's Heaven goes to EXO. EXO 1 submap away from closing out this series. Zero Tenacity upper bracket lives hanging in the balance here. What is happening?
That was one of the ones that I said Zero Tenacity need to win, and next up is Frozen Airfield, which again favors this Spider-Man very heavily. If they couldn't get the job done on Eldritch Monument, it's going to be twice as hard to do it on map where the flank angles are going to favor Sungjuk Woo so much better. And he's not even going to stay on the Spider-Man, going to make the swap over onto the Daredevil. Maybe a little bit of a misstep. He's going to have the advantage when it comes to that ult charge, letting the Devil out, but he's got to use it, right? Like we talked about it a couple times. He just hasn't been as clutch as he needs to be in this front line. The dives, it just hasn't been hitting the same notes. You know, you think back to Krakoa, he and Marvel, they were in sync, in step. Every time Marvel went in, Jerry was there for the follow-up damage. It was picture perfect. We have not seen that since, and it needs to be now, or it needs to be never.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it just feels like Z10 are not quite in the same level of lockstep that we've seen from them before here. A bit of a scramble from them, and now just 1 point away from dropping to the lower bracket here. Alonefills already on the take here. Z10 gonna get right up in the mix here. Freedom Charge comes out, and it's 2 KOs now for EXO to start things off. Exy in some serious trouble here, and Jerry goes down as well. EXO gonna look to wipe out Z10 in the first fight here, and just like that, they will take control control immediately. EXO looking even better and even scarier than they did in the group stage.
And there's like really nothing Zero Tenacity can do about that. Like Z10, sure, he gets frozen up trying to go in for the dive, but he still has the freedom charge, and the rest of EXO, they know how to play off of these dives, so they just all clamp down on Wendy, and without that Fate of Both Worlds, you're never going to be able to live through that. You have to try and at the very least find some trades, but Z10 can't even do that. Marvel going in for the East of the Abyss, the Hail Mary play. He bursts down Felix, but he can't confirm the Elim there either, so that's an ultimate down the drain. EXO still very firmly in control of the map, the point, and taking up that percentage.
They do manage to at least take out Z10 though, but Alone Phil's gonna just even it right out. 1 for 1. Now 1 for 3 here. 4 favoring EXO again. Double KO for Cyclops, and Zero Tenacity cannot get up off the mat here. They are just knocked down every single time by EXO. They're just outplayed. They find an early pick, build that body advantage so fast. I mean, I just can't believe it. They are in a very commanding lead here.
XC is swapping over onto the Punisher, and I do kind of like that. You know, maybe you can just try and burst down JT3 and get a man advantage that way, but it's going to be rough. You know, Sungjuk Woo, he's played these games before. He knows how to play around a character like that. Just dots of shotgun shots, and he doesn't really have to worry. He can put the pressure in onto XC. Sonic Seduction now going to come out from Soko, trying to lock down the backline. Will be enough to clean up Felix, and suddenly Zero Tenacity getting a little bit of wind in their wings as the Elims all start to go their way. A near team wipe. Z10 will stagger out for a little bit more percentage, but as Soko cleans him up, Zero Tenacity finally going to get on the board on Frozen Airfield, but they have got a hell of a walk back in front of them, and Soko is feeling a little chilly.
Yeah, definitely gonna take some steps here for EXO to get back in control. Huge Sonic Seduction from Soko to turn the tide, and sometimes I feel like we just don't talk about Emma Frost enough because she is that influential. As you can see, Zero Tenacity now in control for the first time here on point number 2. They've got a lot of resources here, and they are gonna use them. It's a Raging Royal Flush onto Exy, who's over to the Punisher, and he's got a final judgment ready to go here. Good shield, though, from EXO as they got the Fate of Both Worlds on the move here, and they are gonna try to walk it down, but some damage coming through from Exy. He'll find JT3. That is all they're gonna get here as Fate of Both Worlds for Z10 goes down, and now it is just that devil needing to be let out here as EXO gonna move back onto the point. Sungjuk Woo finding a big pick on the Wendy now in the back hallway. Z10 finds one, and again the value goes EXO's way here. Freedom charge from Marvel, and now Jerry is gonna let that devil out here, and they will find their marks. Marvel, Soko, Exy, name a member of Zero Tenacity, and they are back in the KO feed here. Feels like they are finally starting to wake up as that gap is quickly closing.
What's crazy, though, is it felt like Zero Tenacity won that fight off of the Fate of Both Worlds and that final judgment, but then they had to essentially win it again because Sungjuk Woo and Z10, they just go and they find the backline. They take down Wendy again and force Zero Tenacity to drain the ult bank. Freedom charge now going to come out from Z10. There's a Meteor M online for JT3 as well, and a lot of ults about to be coming online for EXO, and Zero Tenacity don't really have any good tools. There's another Sonic Seduction, but Felix is not falling for the charms this time around. The White Queen will not have her way over Felix, as Felix is feeling it. There's 2 KOs for him, taking down Jerry as well, and EXO back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and courtesy of the backline of XOXO01, Ace and Felix finding all the KOs in that fight. 90% now, and Zero Tenacity, if you've got an answer left, you've got to find it here. Alone Phil's taking down Soko. Exy will make it a 1-for-1.
No TP.
Sungjuk Woo is gone, but yeah, there is no Strange coming. Soko is going to try to get back up. They will at least find overtime, and Exy going to take down Z10 with that Punisher shotgun here, but now it is do or die for Zero Tenacity. 82%. They got to find a way to get a foothold here. Good shield from JT3 on the Magneto, protecting the rest of the team here. They gotta buy some time for all of the bodies to be here on the point, but Exy's got a final judgment ready to go yet again here, so you know that damage is coming. It is coming JT3's way, courtesy of a Punisher shotgun, and just like that, Z10 make the flip and are back in control here.
It's off that Raging Royal Flush from Creative, but Alone Phils is able to find a cleanup Elim onto Jerry, and he's on a flank, and sees Creative out of the corner of his eye taking a duel with, I believe that's Sungjuk Woo, because of course it is. Are we going to be able to see this final judgment come out from Exy? The backline is under so much pressure. Jerry goes in. He's going to take down Sungjuk Woo, winning the Spider-Man duel. And now that final judgment coming out, a strange portal. Jerry waiting for JT3 to come on through it, take the fight to him, but this might be enough for Z10. But Alone Phils takes down Exy, Jerry on a sliver of HP, and Sungjuk Woo is taking down Creative, and EXO are running away with this. Zero Tenacity are bleeding out one by one, and Sungjuk Woo looking to cut that last lifeline with a spectacular spin. Jerry goes in for one of his own, but isn't nearly as spectacular as his cohort. Marvel diving on in, taking down JT3. Is it going to be enough enough. No, Zaytha will put him down to justice. Exy on the Star-Lord, looking to try and contest, but Kumiho unleashed. He ain't gonna get a whole lot done. EXO, they did the work. They did their homework. They studied the meta. They assembled the Avengers, and they played to the beat of their own drum, and they will march all the way on to the next round as Zero Tenacity will be sent down to the lower bracket.
Yeah, they do finally make the flip here. Marvel on the Venom, the last one standing, staggered out now. Creative's on the Jeff, but even that Land Shark can't get moving that quick. Jerry, though, on the quick rollout of the Spider-Man, one last breath, but it is a gasp as Zero Tenacity fall victim to EXO yet again here. 3 maps to 1. They do not find the map number 5 here, and EXO take a dominant win on domination to wrap it up.
And it felt like Zero Tenacity was just in pure desperation mode the entire time. EXO were in full control, and you can tell by the way they were playing. They were playing with momentum, they were playing with dominance, and they played with control. And at times, it kind of felt like they were playing with their food a little bit there as well. Zero Tenacity, like, they just felt like they didn't have it figured out. They didn't really know exactly what EXO were coming out with. Like, you know, even up against a team like this, where you know Sungjuk Woo has like Spider-Man magic, you know, Daredevil, like this oddball hero pool that you could never expect, you don't really prepare for that because you think, oh, the meta doesn't favor it. They're not going to play it. It's just not going to work. Well, what do you do when it starts to work? What do you do when there's a team that makes it work? You're not ready, and Zero Tenacity, they were woefully underprepared, and they looked like it every step of the way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's one single possibility in the 14 million possibilities in which Zero Tenacity were prepared to face a Spider-Man. Maybe they knew that Sungjuk Woo was going to bring something to the table. That's the rub with a team like XOXO01. You have to expect the unexpected, as cliche as it may sound with them, because I did not see this coming from them either. And I've watched this team for a long time now, but they brought a lot of their old tricks to the table here, and they managed to make them work. They will force their way through here, and they do it without even needing to play out the whole series. Yet again, EXO goes over Zero Tenacity here again, twice now in stage 1, and Zero Tenacity, after day number 1, is already sitting down in the lower bracket. What an insane series here for XOXO01. Somebody call Dan. We gotta make sure he's doing okay after that one.
Dan is a happy camper right now with the EXO victory here, 3-1. Sadly, no map 5 for the dreamers who believed in map 5, and for those who got their predictions right, congratulations, EXO do claim victory here. And for those supporting Z10, the mission isn't over yet. They'll have to do a lower bracket climb, but they have taken on harder odds before, so good luck to them on that run as well. But, woo, EXO, we get that nice winners interview starting up very, very soon. Curious to see who we're going to have a chat with. We'll sort that out, but I just want to break it down a little bit. One thing we addressed and we didn't get to see was the Mantis risk. These teams did not let her through at all. They did not want to take that chance.
I think, you know, Zero Tenacity, like, they were still able to get away with a rocket ban, but EXO, like, they proved, especially on those last 2 maps, that they don't even need that the crutch that BRB provides. They don't need the constant CYAs. It doesn't matter because they can still hit you just as hard and just as often. And if you, like we said, if you're not prepared, if you're not ready, if you're not expecting the unexpected, you just ain't gonna win. And here's the crazy thing too is I have seen Zero Tenacity in scrims up against Yaoi Lost, so I know that they are privy to this kind of style, but even still, EXO are coming with curveballs that even YWL couldn't have dished their way.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big case of sticking to their guns for XOXO01. They know that the meta has shifted, and they adapted. They're bringing the Cyclops to the battlefield, but they are still sticking to what has worked for them so well in the past, and it delivers here in the first round of the playoffs.
Well, I think it's time to have a chat with one of the winning players from XOXO. Who's it gonna be? Who's on our screen? Sungjuk Woo, welcome back to Ignite. How are you, sir?
Yeah, good to be back. Yeah, hello guys. How you guys?
Doing good.
We're good.
Glad.
Feeling pretty good after the show you put on just now.
That's good. Well, tell us, how's the team feeling right now after a big win like that? Your first win here in the Pacific playoffs. It's going to be very interesting to see who you might verse next. Next match will tell us very, very soon.
Yeah, we really excited about this win. We kind of like fucked up our first map because like the fog was Fox was not banned, and it's hard to play dive against Fox. And yeah, anyone who's is our opponent next is I hope is what the two teams.
I believe it's Burgers and Genji have their next match coming up. One of those teams.
Oh yeah, I think it's gonna be Genji. We're gonna play against Genji, and it's gonna be like hard map for us. Yeah, because like Genji is like one of the strongest team right now.
They are very much so a strong team, but you guys look pretty strong as well. I do want to hear. I want to ask you a question. I think I already know what you're gonna say, but I want to hear the answer. In your opinion, is Dive dead?
It's not really dead. Like it's just be previous season, but let's say it's like less OP than last season because Black Cat DD got nerfed and the new hero Cyclops in. He's really good at poking, but I think it's still playable.
It's a bit of an understatement. You guys just won with pretty much hold. I thought you were just gonna say no. It's not at all. Like.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, we saw it firsthand. You know, Dive still insane. One other hero I'm kind of curious about, Devil Dinosaur. How do you guys feel about Devil Dino? We saw JT3 play it a little bit, but you know, do you think the changes coming into this patch have kind of dialed him back, or how do you guys feel about running him still in 8.5?
Yeah, he's still pretty good against to counter dive. Like he can grab like the divers, but he's not strong as he used before. But he's still playable in counter dive. Yeah.
Speaking of heroes, I want to talk a little bit about your hero pool. You know, we've seen it. You know, we saw the Spider-Man, the Magic, the Daredevil. It kind of feels like you play a lot of these off-meta duelists. Is there a hero that we haven't gotten to see from you that you might be keeping a secret? Is there one more you got that you've been practicing?
Not really. Those are all my hero pool right now. But we might cooking something else that I can work with this meta right now. Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, after that game, do you really need anything else? Like the Spider-Man, the Daredevil, the Magic, like looking good. I mean,
yeah, those three is good for me. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually we have a lot of international viewers watching today, and I want to know, Sonjok, a lot of people compare XOXO to Yeah We Lost from Americas. How do you guys feel about that comparison? You've been a dive team since February last year.
Yeah, I've got that a lot because like some of them say like this is Yeah We Lost Asia or something like that. Yeah, and yeah, I think for our team playing dive is more like it's more fun to play this game than like the other comps. Because like Otacom, you just like sitting back and shooting things, like you're not really like do anything else. But yeah, playing dive is really how my team plays. Yeah.
That's fair. Well, I think we'll leave it there. We'll let you go rest with the rest of your team, of course, and good luck in your matches tomorrow. Thank you very much for your time, Sonjok Woo. Thank you.
Thank you so much.